Hello, and welcome to my live. I am coming live from Stockholm. My name is Generica. If you're meeting me for the first time, and this is the best of two worlds. Today we will be talking about lessons that I have learned. Uh, in the 20 years I have lived here, about the Swedish culture and all. So feel free to ask any questions, to engage, give this live a thumbs up, and let's catch up. So let me give it a few minutes for people to join. It's a random video, so feel free to ask any questions. So I'll just go ahead and start. So the first thing that I got to learn when I got here, I've lived in Sweden for about 20 years, and the first thing I got to learn when I got here was about the weather. The weather can confuse you, can make you have all sorts of feelings, and I got here in the month of April. So in the month of April, a typical month of April, May, June, it can be all sorts of weather. It can be very sunny, it can be, but still cold. It can be, it could be raining, but still very, very cold. So when I got here, I first time I looked through the window, I saw it was sunny, it was warm, it was looking warm. So I decided I'll remove my sweater and I want to go and enjoy the sun. And when I got outside, I got the shock of my life. I got the shock of my life because it was cold. It was very, 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 very cold. So that was the first thing that welcomed me into the country. And that is how the weather is. In the winter, it's very, very dark and very, very few hours of light. And it could also make you feel some type of way. So you have to dress accordingly. There's this saying that the Swedish people say that there is no bad weather, just bad clothes. So that means that you cannot blame the weather if you're freezing and you're cold. You blame the way you dressed and your clothes, and the opposite in the summer. So that is the first thing that really welcomed me, and I felt, wow, this where have I gotten into? And then the other thing that I got to know while I was here is the Swedish people love their coffee. They love their coffee. They like to drink coffee all the time. And there's this thing they call fika. Fika means going out to drink coffee with your friends. So that is very, very typical about Sweden. They love their fika. And when they go to these fikas, if I tell my friend, let's go out and fika, it's not like in Kenya where one of us will foot the bill. In Sweden, when you go to fika, you go to eat with your friends, you pay your own bill. You pay your own bills. And that is very, very, very normal in Sweden. The other thing that was very, very typical and is also, okay, now it's all over the world, but this is very typical about the Swedish people, is the queuing. The queuing, standing online, like in the bank, standing in the line, in the supermarket, you're standing in line, waiting for the bus, you're waiting for the line. And that is not, it's nothing new everywhere. Even in Kenya we make lines, and all over the world we make lines, but the Swedish people like to keep their distance, the distance between me and the next person. It doesn't matter how long the line is, they love to keep their distance, because the Swedish people are very calm, they are very quiet, and they are very private people, so they love to keep their distance. If you go to the banks, you find you take your number, you don't have to be standing to wait online, so you just go and pick a number and sit. You go to the supermarket, if you want to buy meat, you go and take a number and you do your other things as you wait for your number to be shown on the screen. So they love their distance. That is very, very, very typical of the Swedish people. The other thing I got to learn very early on, and it's really typical of the Swedish people. I'm talking about Sweden because that is where I am. They love their timekeeping is of essence. They love to keep time. Everything is on time. The buses go on time. If everything is on time. If we say we are meeting at 3 o'clock, it is 3 o'clock. So they love, 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 love to keep time, and they think it is so rude and committal if you are not on time. They cannot understand it. How is it that you are not on time? So you can imagine me who is coming from Kenya, and when you say 3 o'clock, that could mean 5, 6, and I'm still coming, I'm still on the way. So it was really a culture shock, and I got to learn that very, very, very earlier on during my stay. The other thing that I got to learn is the what do you call it? They call it the right of public access. The right of public access is very, very common here. It's called in Sweden they call it allmänrätten. What does that mean? That means that you are allowed to go to the forest. It, Anybody can go to the forest. You can go and pick berries from there. You can go and fish from the lake if you want to. You are allowed to access anywhere at any time. But that comes with a price. What is the price? The price is that you have to take care of the environment. You have to go, if you go to the forest, you're not going to the forest to cut trees. If you're going fishing, you have a fishing license. You go and take care and don't go and litter and throw rubbish and things like that. So, and you can go and pick berries in any forest. It doesn't matter where it is. You can go and camp in any forest. You can go swimming at any lake you want to go and swim. You have access to it. So that is also very, very, very common to the Swedish society. It's a culture that is known. Then the other thing is the personal numbers. every Swedish person, if you're living here and you have your permanent stay, you get the personal numbers. The personal numbers, I compare them to the Huduma numbers in Kenya. So everybody has that number. It's a special number to you. Includes your year of birth, the month, the date, and then four numbers that are unique to you. So if you're a man, you have uh, an odd number, and if you're a woman, you have an even number. So that's what the personal number is. It involves your birth numbers and four special digits. So everybody has this, and with this, that means if you go in and put my personal number, you get all my details. You get when I came to Sweden, the address where I live, who do I live with in that house, how many children I have. You can get all the details you want to know with the personal number. And it also now it gives you access, or rather it gives the government access to all your details. So the government knows how much you earn, the taxes you're supposed to pay. Do you pay taxes? Do you not pay taxes? Your life is simply an open book. Your life is simply an open book. Then the other thing I found that was a shock to me, and that really doesn't happen so often in Kenya, is the parental leaves. The parental leave is not unique for the mothers. Mothers all over the world, they get their postnatal leave, but the fathers in Sweden also have a right to their 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 father leave when they have children. And you will find they are out on the streets pushing the baby wagons, they are out running, they are out doing the shopping and doing their daily job while pushing the wagon. And that means that this man will take care of this kid, he will feed this kid, he will change the diaper of this child. Plus, when they are home, that means we don't have house girls in Sweden. So that means also now the other responsibilities at home. He's taking care and cleaning and cooking and preparing dinner if they have other children. So that is also very, very common, and it's encouraged. And they're given their leave days, like the rest of the mothers who get their leave when they go to get their their babies. And then in Sweden, they are not very keen on titles. Like in Kenya, if it's a minister, it's sir, or if it's a doctor, doctor so and so. In Sweden, you address everybody by their first name. Of course, there's an exception of the royal family. You cannot go now start calling the king with his name, but everybody else, and I guess also the prime minister, I guess you cannot call him by his name, but everybody else. You go to the hospitals, the doctors, you address them with their first name, and they will do the same to you. So they are not formal at all. They are not formal at all, and that's a way of like equalizing the people and making everybody feel comfortable with the situation. So that is I found that very, very common in the Swedish society. And then the Swedish people have they love their type of food. There are specific foods for the Swedish people. I talked about in my last video. I talked about the pancake Thursday, the pancakes eaten with peanut soup. On Thursdays, you go to restaurants, you're bound to find the menu. It has the pancake. Then they have a special fish called surströmming. It's a fish that has fermented It has been fermented. It has a lot of salt, and also has a very very special strong smell. So this fish is eaten especially during the summer. So this can, it's a small can, it's not a big can. You cannot open it inside the house because it could take you months, years to remove the smell from your house. So this is a fish that is eaten by the Swedish people. You either love the fish or you don't like the fish, and mostly it's a fish that is eaten outside because of the strong smell. This fish is eaten often with a kind of bread. I talked about it in my video yesterday. There is a special bread called the knäcke bread. It's a hard bread. It's a hard bread. This bread, I guess Norway and Denmark, they have their own similar bread, but I've never seen it anywhere else. It's not in Kenya anyway. So that the knäcke bread is actually very, very, very special to the Swedish population, and it's loved. You will not get a home that does not have the knäcke bread, the hard bread. And then there is the word lagom that is used a lot in Sweden. Lagom means just enough. It's not too much. It's not too low, and that also means that it's it's out of the norm to talk about yourself, to talk all about yourself. Oh, me I have, me I own, me I own. It's not normal to do that. It's also not normal to talk about money, for example. I'm not now talking about your spouse or the people around you, but to strangers. You cannot go to the workplace to start to talk about, oh, me, I have this money, this. People will look at you in a very, very strange way. This is a way of almost equalizing everybody. Can it always be equal? No, it can. There are always going to be people who have more than the others and people who are better cars than the others. But if you look at something like the houses are built almost in the same way because of the climate change. So all the houses are heated if it's not a summer house. And it's a summer house because then it's not heated. You cannot live in the house during winter. There are summer houses that you can stay during winter, but all other houses are isolated to be able to heat up during the winter period. And it doesn't matter where you go, the houses are like this. Most of the houses are built with a washing machine, a dryer, and a dishwasher. It's not necessary that you have to have it inside your house, but even if it's an apartment building, they have a special room where the washing room where you go and do your washing, and these machines are provided for. So it's a way of making everybody feel the same, so to kind of equalize everybody. Can it ever be equal? Of course not. It cannot be easy. There are those who earn more than the others, but it's a way to make everybody feel welcomed and feel like they fit in. The Swedish people are quite active all year round. So if it's during the winter and it is snowing, there's a lot of winter activities that you can do outside. So you will not find just because it's snowing that people are enclosed inside the house. Even when it is snowing, people are outside skiing in the mountains, taking walks. Children are outside playing. So unless now it has snowed there's a snowstorm, then the Swedish people will always be out doing some kind of an activity. The same thing during the summer when it is hot and beautiful. The Swedish people are out taking for walks. They are out swimming. They are out, with their friends. So the Swedish people are generally very, very, very active people, and they like to keep fit. Is I'm not saying for everybody who likes to keep it, but most of the time you find at least they want to go out for a walk, or they want to go out and get the fresh air, because now inside, if it's during the winter, it's heated, so you want to be outside getting the fresh air. And then now there's the other thing about this, typical for the Swedish society. Normally, from August are very, very slow months. Why is that? It's because most of the Swedish people take their leave. They take their leave during the summer and go and take off to be with the family, to be with friends, to relax, because the winter are very, very long. So it's compulsory. It's almost compulsory for every Swedish person who is working to get. You have 4 weeks. Then now you can decide you want to take 1 week or you want to take 2 weeks, but you have those 4 weeks compulsory for you to take your leave to go and relax and be with your family, because then you can be more productive when you go back to work. And then something else that there is especially for the Swedish people is that all children all children between the age of 0 to 18, they're given 1,250 every single month. Okay, this money until when you're 18 is given to your parents, but it is the children's money. It's money that is supposed to be used for on the children, and it there is no exception. If you have two children, you're given that amount times two. 1,250 is about 12,000 Kenya shillings. So it's quite good money, but don't forget that Sweden is the highest tax, the country that has the highest taxes. The taxes are very, very high, but then the taxes are now distributed in different places, and part of it is the the amount given to the children. The schools are free. You don't pay any school fees to go to the children for your children to go to school. That is money that is paid from the taxes that we pay. It is free for children to go to the hospital. That is also money that is paid from the taxes we pay. And this is true until the child is at least over 18 years of age. The roads are good. I mean, all roads are well maintained. They are good. This is money also that is coming from the taxes. If it's during winter, they pour the sand on the roads that is not slippery, and if the sand is swept for during the summer. This is all money that is paid from the money we pay for taxes. So yes, we pay a lot of taxes, and everybody pays taxes. Everybody in Sweden pays taxes apart from the royal family, and you cannot run away from that. You cannot run away from paying taxes, because remember, I told you we have our personal numbers, our Huduma numbers. They will get you. So maybe you will not pay this month, you will not pay 2, 3 months, maybe you will not pay the whole year. But come when it's time to declare your taxes, you will pay for it at the end of the day. You will pay for it. Uh, the other thing that is special to the Swedish people is that they don't go inside the house with shoes. Maybe we don't do it in Kenya either, but this is typically a Swedish norm. They don't enter in the houses, and we don't enter with shoes in this house either. But if you go into public places, like, say, for example, an elderly home, or you go to the smaller clinics, You're provided for shoe covers where you take a clean one, you put in your shoes, you go in, do whatever you're doing, and then when you come out, you remove and put in a dirty basket. So that is provided. Why is it so? It's because, like, remember I told you they pour sand during winter. You don't want to bring now that sand inside somebody's house. You don't want to bring, or you don't want to bring the dirt from outside into somebody's house. If you're going to a party, some people will prefer, instead of now going to remove your shoes and going to walk inside the house barefoot, most people carry inside shoes. So you have another pair of shoes that you can wear when you're inside the house. So that is also okay, but they do not go in with shoes. Even in hospitals, they are provided, and it's wet also. It's wet outside, so you don't want to now come with your shoes during winter when it's wet, with your wet shoes outside, and come into the house with your wet shoes. So they do not get into the houses with shoes. I will stay now in the winter. In the winter period, I said it's dark. Most of the time, it's dark. You wake up, it's dark. You go to work, you come back, it is still dark. So that is also very typical to the Swedish weather. It's not the Swedish, I guess it's a Scandinavian weather. And it's the other way around during summer. It is sunny almost throughout the day. So here we go by the time. You don't look, it's not like in Kenya when you see the sun goes down, oh, it's 6 o'clock, it's time to go home, or it's 9 o'clock, it's time to go to bed. Here you have to go by the time. Otherwise, the weather will cheat you. The weather will actually cheat you, and you will fall out of balance. So that's also unique to the Scandinavian weather. In Sweden, you don't buy alcohol in the shops. Like you go to the shopping center here and buy alcohol. No, alcohol is only sold in special shops. These shops are called Systembolaget. This is where you go and buy your alcohol. And to be able to buy alcohol in these shops, you have to be over the age of 20. How do they have check this? If they cannot tell your age by looking at you, they will ask for your ID. And believe me, you will not buy alcohol from these shops if you are not of age. So that is very, very, very typical of the Swedish society, the Swedish culture. And it's the only shop, there's no any other shop that is allowed to sell alcohol at all. At all, at all. The Swedish people celebrate a lot of the high seasons. The high seasons are like Christmas, they celebrate Easter, they have special days, they celebrate like All Saints, they celebrate Midsummer. The Swedish people are not generally religious people. Many years ago, Sweden was a Catholic land, but today the Swedish society is Protestant. And most Swedish people don't even believe in God. They are not believers. I'm not saying all, but most of them are not. And they don't go to church, but they will go to church on Christmas, during Christmas time, to listen to Christmas music. They will go to to church during Easter. They'll go to church when they are getting married. They'll go to church when somebody is being buried. But they're generally very kind people. I've never met more kind of people than the Swedish society. So that also was a culture I had to learn with time. The other special thing that I think is unique to Sweden, and I'm talking about Sweden because this is where I stay, we drink water from the taps. how the water is good, okay to drink direct from the tap. Of course, you can buy water from the supermarket, you can buy water from the shops, but you're allowed to drink water from the tap. And if in case say the water is has leaked some infection or it is infected, it will be announced way earlier in the radios, and everybody will be aware about the infected area, so that you keep watch. So that is also very very unique to this country. Uh, the other thing about I can think about is we've talked about the education. The education is free for children. The hospital is free for the children, and through the taxes that we pay, that's why they have that the possibility to be able to have these things for free. So really, they are not for free because you have paid it through the taxes, but you don't pay anything extra for your children to go to school. The other one is I found true to the Swedish society. I don't know about other country, and definitely not in Kenya. In Kenya, when you go to the supermarket, you do your shopping, you go to the cashier, you are paid. There's somebody to pack your bags or your products that you have shopped, put it in bags, and and even help you to take it to the car. In Sweden, you do it all by yourself. You go and do the shopping. You come to the cashier. You remove the things from the wagon. You pay and you pack for yourself in the bag, and then you drive to the car and go home. There is nobody to pack for you your things in the car. Even when you go to the furniture shop, for example, or there's one special shop that is a that is a Swedish shop. It's IKEA. I guess most people know this shop. It's a furniture shop where the furnitures come, they are dismantled. If it's a chair, it's dismantled in pieces and it's packed in a package. So when you buy a furniture from IKEA, it comes in a package. Inside this package, there is the pieces for that chair. There are all the nails to connect the chair, and a menu showing you how to do it. You go into this shop, you will look for the chair that you want, you will buy it. You will go and look for it in the store where they're packed because they have numbers. You go and remove it there from there yourself. You put it in the wagon, you go and pay for it, and you go home. When you get home, you connect this yourself. So there's a lot of DIY, doing things yourself in this country. Remember, everybody pays taxes, so even we don't. It's not easy to have a house help or to have gardeners or to. I'm not saying that there are people who don't. There are people who don't have it. There are those who have, but it's not common. It's not common. So there's a lot of the do it yourself things that you have to do a lot in this country. So that is also, I found it, that is also very, very special for the Swedish community. Then there's the language. The Swedish people are very good in English. As a matter of fact, they love to speak English when you speak to them, but they have their language. They have their language, which is the Swedish language. And what I have experienced within the years is that if you want to integrate into the society better, you want to go to school and study a certain career, or you want to go and look for a job, it is easier when you are able to speak the language. And when you move to the country, when you're given your papers to stay, there's something called SFE. That is the Swedish for invandrare, the Swedish for incomers, and these are free. You can go and apply, and you go to these schools and you study the language. So there is no excuse for not learning the Swedish language. You are able to go by every day to go to shop because they understand a lot of English. But if you really want to integrate into the Swedish society and the culture, the Swedish language is very, very important, and there are places to go and learn the language. You can choose the places to go and learn the language for free, or if there are other private places, you can also go and pay and learn the language. Plus, you can also learn the language through Google and Google Translation. But I think if you want to learn how to spell and how to write sentences, the meanings in a correct way, I think it is very, very important to go to school and learn. It's easier to move to a country like England or to Kenya where people speak English. Then you just go and get into the society and start moving. But in Sweden, you have to learn the language. It is important to learn the language because then it will be easier for you to get into the society and integrate yourself into the society. The other thing about this in Sweden is that there's freedom of worship. I told you the Sweden society is Protestant, but they are Catholics, they are Muslims in this country, all sorts of religion. There's freedom of worship, but you should not make noise. You should not make noise to disrupt all the others because noise is also part of the noise pollution. It's not like in Kenya where 6 o'clock you're hearing there's a Muslim there, there's another Muslim church there, there's a church there that is drumming and singing loudly. You can never hear where there's that now it's 6 o'clock, there's a Muslim church that now it's time to pray. There is freedom of worship, but you should not make noise for others. The other thing is in Sweden, all the rules are kind of written. All the rules are written, the do's and don'ts of the country are written down. So you can never do something against the law and then say that you did not know. Because it is your responsibility once you're in the country, once you're given permission to stay, you get to familiarize with the do's and don'ts of the country because everything is written. Everything is written down. So you can never say that you did not know because everything is written. So you have to take the time to learn the rules and regulations of this country. You have to do that because there are many, and there are also there is a more freer country, but like any other country, there are rules and regulations. The other thing that I found also very typical of the Swedish society, remember I told you they're very quiet, they are very calm, they like to keep their distance. They don't have the habit of shaking hands. I cannot just meet my neighbor here and go and shake hands. Their greetings are you look at somebody, you shake your head and say hey, and then you pass. I'm not now talking about the people, the near people, the family members, but I'm talking about now the Swedish people as a community in general. They don't shake hands. They don't hug. I find that's the Kenyan way of greetings. You meet somebody you know with somebody else that you don't know, you hug that person and you even hug the person that you don't know. That is not common in this country. They like to keep their distance and they are not huggers. They're not huggers. They don't hug. They don't shake hands. They just shake your hands and say hi, hi. And then now they talk. You can talk about the weather and you talk about an incident that happened, but you don't start to talk about, oh, I bought a house for this amount of million to strangers. They find you very, very strange. When you go to, say, for example, I've gone out with my colleagues to have a drink. You will go to the bar, you will go and buy your drink, come pay for it, and come back and sit. There is not that norm like it's in Kenya when we are together. I'll buy this round for everybody, then the next person will buy another round. It's not common in Sweden. It's not common in Sweden. In Sweden, even when you go to restaurants, there is first and foremost there's nobody to serve you. You cannot go and sit on a table waiting for a waiter to come and serve you. It's not common. It's not common. You have to go for your food or your drink from the counter and pay for it there. So that's also very, very common. And I've learned the 20 years I've been in this country, I have learned. I have learned a lot. And like the saying says, when you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. I have had to adjust. I've had to adjust about keeping time because I cannot always be having people waiting for me. The Swedish people, again, they are calm, they like their distance, they don't shout. I live near a school, and you cannot even tell there are kids in that school. They are outside playing, but nobody is screaming. I have my neighbors who have small children. You can rarely hear them screaming while they are playing outside. They like to keep to, it's not like in Kenya we are loud and we scream and talk with our hands and that is who we are. That is our culture and that's our norm. But it's not the Swedish culture and it's not the Swedish norm. It's not. There are many, many, many cultures and norms in this country. I just wanted to highlight a few because, like I said, I have lived in this country for about 20 years. So, if you're thinking of moving, not necessarily maybe to Sweden, maybe to wherever country that you live in, it's important also to be patient and to take the time to learn the norms and the cultures of that country. It would be easier for you to integrate into the country. If it's a country that's speaking a different language, it is always good to try and learn that language because it will be easier for you to integrate yourself into the society. The, like I said, there are very, very many social norms in this country, but I just wanted to highlight the few that really caught me off guard and they caught my eye. And I hope you have learned something that you have you understood a little more about the Swedish and the Swedish cultures. Please give this video a like. You can share it with your friends and family. And most of all, please subscribe if you already have not done that. And I don't take it for granted that you come back video after video to watch and subscribe. So for now, I will say bye and God bless until the next video. Bye.